There we go. Yeah, okay. I don't know what was. Press go live longer than it should. I'm gonna send now. Y'all can submit. We've done this before. No, we know how this works. Don't know how this works. All the instructions, everything you need to know, listed right here. So read these for your sake, for my sake. Otherwise, your beat skipped over. It's not my fault. That's your point. Get into it. Let's hear what we got from the Dusseldorf.
Doozy.
Is hard. Is my mic better now? I turned up the whatchamacallit, the gain, whatever. It was cutting out because I got a noise reduction whatever on it, so it cuts. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Yo, the 808s on that go crazy. They're hitting hard. The mix is beautiful. What I really love though, and this is like such a minor thing, but I love how you kind of control the 808 tail so nicely. Because sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. It really creates the bounce nice in there. The rhythm goes hard. It's a good beat, my guy. It's a good beat. Yeah, I like the arrangement. I know it's a little basic. It feels a little bit more like a placement beat. I do like the arrangement because it kind of feels fresh and new once you're kind of trying to kill off some energy. It feels good. There's a lot of room in this. There's a good amount of room in this one too. So like honestly, they're both pretty nice beats in that regard. Mix on them both goes hard. I do feel like maybe that the little 808 roll gets spammed a bit too much. I feel like you could maybe like mix that up a tiny bit, but it's good. It's really good, my guy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really crazy about the melody there. The mix is good. Jombe, you never let me down with the mix. Why can't you gamble? I don't know, the bot. Let me try. You also didn't say like how much you're trying to gamble. That's probably why. Low key. That's probably why. Yeah, I'm not really big on the melody here. It just feels a little amateur to me. I'm not too sure why, but I do like everything else you're doing. The mix is nice. The rhythm is pretty good. You always kind of come through with that. So I think it's pretty good, but it could be better, Jombe. It definitely could be better. kind of on the same page. I did expect the drums to be a little more chill, but I think it kind of worked out in the end still for what you're going for. I did like the little percussive, I guess, fill. I guess that's what I'd call it there that you had, the little transition kind of. It was nice. It was really well done, and it came through pretty clean and had a good time. How can you be a member again? You pay money. You invest. I think it's like $3 or $5. I don't even remember. I found out though, low key, listen, I found out that once I had said it, like after I'd said it, I can't change, like I can't really do a lot of changes unless I change the price of it. So like I haven't done any changes to that. I got 0 plaques. I got a YouTube plaque. That's it, my guy. It's clean. It's kind of got that little club vibe to it, the little club bounce. I feel like you could have made it a little faster. Like overall, the BPM could have been a little bit higher. But I think it's pretty good. It's a good beat. It's nice. Yeah, bro compared this song to Toilet. We don't talk about that. We're not children here, I hope. Who will be pinning their own shit? Get out of here. You're banned. Actually. We got Astro Mort. First things first. Let's listen. Yeah, I've watched Kaiju number 8. I need to watch season 2. I don't think it's only 1 episode so far out from season 2, so like I'm not too far behind. I prefer to binge though, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a good beat. It's very vibey, very chill. You created an atmosphere, which is really, really nice. I thought personally, once the drums came in at first, I thought you were going to go with a very different rhythm, very different vibe. That's kind of what I was hoping for. Thanks for becoming a member, No Shot. Also, Doozy, thanks for, I think it said 21 months now of membership. That's crazy. You're almost at, what, 2 years there. That's wild, my guy. But yeah, no, I was expecting the drums to kind of go a little bit more, like, higher energy than what they were. I understand you usually go for these more like slower drum kind of vibes, and you did that. You nailed that here. But I do think like it would have been nicer with faster drums. It's called Bruh, Obnoxious Beat 1. Are we really doing this today? honestly, I turned my speakers down, so I didn't really suffer too much. I think it was all right. Like it seems a little bit like I'm not too sure where you're going with it. You know what I mean? Like it gives me, I don't know. Someone said like BMX type game type beat. Kind of gives me that vibe. Like I resonated with that comment. But I do think you have some good stuff here. Like you did nail that vibe, if that's what you were going for. You liked this beat so much, you spent on it. That doesn't even make sense, my dude. Spent 4 hours on it. Tell me if anything is wrong. I will. Yeah, honestly, there's nothing wrong really. It's nothing I think you need to change. This beat goes crazy. It's hard. It's a vibe. I really think the melody shines way more than the drums. The drums are just kind of there. So maybe you could get a little bit more creative, maybe, if you want with the drums, but I think you did a good job. Honestly, it's a great beat. The vibes are there. I think it's beautiful, personally. It's really good. I turned my mic up. Is it good now, or do you want me to turn it up a little bit more? Because I can like... I got a gain knob or whatever, you know what I mean? I got a knob. Fuck. I mean, you were doing something and then you kind of came in with this goofy ass little blip sounding ass kick. Don't do that. Use a better sound. It's 2025. I'm certain there's a better kick in existence for whatever you're going for. Your transition was awkward as hell. I mean, if house music uses it, house music needs to evolve, because that is the most dookie ass kick I've heard today. Alright, I think you have a lot of good elements here. Like, realistically, you have some good ideas, some good elements for what you're trying to do, but it doesn't really come together. A little bit because of sound selection, a little bit because your mix is just kind of meh at best, and also because, like, the transitions are just kind of weird and goofy. Arrangement-wise, kind of falls really flat for what you're going for. I think that's probably the biggest thing, I have to say. You know, like, you could make it a little more interesting. You could definitely make your sections kind of work together as opposed to just feeling like two different things. Yeah. Emperor Palps. What a name. Mix not yet finished. You want to know if you're cooking or nah. If I had to judge off the first 2 seconds, I'm gonna say nah, but we'll give you a little bit more time. All right, you have like a whole flurry of issues with this. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not. You're not cooking. You are not cooking. Let's start off with like the basics here. You got these really bad sounds. For what you're doing, for just anything really, I don't like these sounds at all. They're a little basic. They're a little plain. They sound just like you took really basic waveforms and just made like a saw wave. I'm not saying you're using a saw wave, but it's kind of like you're doing that. That's kind of it, you know, like you got a square wave. That's it. That's all that's going on. Melodically, actually, let's go rhythmically, it's not interesting. You're very basic rhythmically. Nothing special's happening. Give me a little bit of some like highlighting, like syncopation. If you know what that is, just look it up. Syncopation, you know. Mix wise, it's not that bad, but you don't have that much going on. The drum sound selection is really, really painful, and you have like a minute-long intro, so your arrangement is a little questionable. Simple is good, but I wouldn't call this simple. I would call this basic. It's missing a lot, you know? I think there are some ideas here that definitely need to be fleshed out a little bit better, but really the sound selection, the basicness in the rhythm, it doesn't let you cook, you know? We'll come back to this. We got a member beat review or whatever. From Mihai. Let's go. I mean, Mihai, for what you're doing, I think it's good. I think it's exactly what you're trying to go for. I just feel like the melody is a little basic, a little plain, and I think you could have maybe fleshed that out, kind of expanded on it. But I do like what you do with the drums, so I think that kind of comes together. You're not able to get to the members only chat. That's because you need to link your Discord to your YouTube. Once you do that, it should work. If not, I can resolve that for you. Let's go. More Mihai beats. I like this one too, Mihai. I think it's good. I do like what you're doing with the drums. I think it kind of has that same issue with the melody. Like the melody is very repetitious, and I think just a little bit of variation in there could really take it like a step further, you know? You sent a beat right at 12 p.m. It was the first one sent. If it's after the message, it should have been listened to already, like after the post. But if not, then it may not adhere to the rules and the guidelines and the, you know what I'm saying? We got to process, my guy. Emotional jerk plugin deleted.mp3. What is this? Yeah, dude paid me $5, but listen, I don't personally, like, at no point do I say, hey, pay me money, I'll listen to your beat. We have a system. The whole point of this is so that people can submit, they can expect to get their beat reviewed. I'm not trying to make money streaming. If I was, I would do a completely different system. You know what I'm saying? Just follow the rules. It's easy. I think you did cook with the melody on this one, but I think this is kind of funny because like these other two, I liked your drums a lot. On this one, I'm not liking the drums as much, mainly the 808. I think it might just be the sound for the 808. I'm not really crazy about it, but I do like what you do with the melody. It's really nice. And as someone who doesn't as someone who doesn't usually love jerk beats in particular, I think you did do a good job with jerk beats here. So yeah, you could probably hear Scooter Mungus. She's a vocal cat. She is. It's part of her breed, so it's just who she is. I mean, Doozy, it's good. You got a lot of good elements here, but kind of the same thing as Mihai. It's a little basic. It's a little repetitive. I love to see a little more. I'd love to see a little more variation, you know. But it's hard. It hits. The guitar always goes crazy with 808, so it sounds great. I just think it could be a little, you know, a little more interesting. Can you still send in beats if you're a premium member? Yes. Yes, you can. That's how that works. All right, August, what you got for me? I don't hate it. To be honest with you, I don't hate it. It just seems like it's a little busy in terms of your mix, because there's like a lot going on, but not a lot of space for everything to go on. You could just EQ some of that and kind of make it work a little bit better. You have no shot, right? No shot. You have 2 accounts. What is your? It's all good. I'll do it manually. It's really no issue. Just let me know what your Discord account is, or your Discord name, whatever it's called. Let me know what your Discord name is, and I will fix that. I'll sort that out for you. Don't you worry. Yeah, I can't even pronounce this name. It's a beat for your friend. Let's go. Power of Friendship type beat. Yo, I never knew the Power of Friendship could go so hard. Personally, this actually do slap. I like the mix. My one beef is you got that lead in there, and I don't love the sound selection on it, but that's just me. Other than that, it does go pretty hard. It's pretty clean. It's pretty nice. It's a good beat. It's a good beat overall. Crossfade, what do you got for us?
Come on. Let's get faded.
Yo, what just happened? I didn't press anything. What?
Come on. Let's get faded.
I'm be real with you. I think the melody is where it really shines. It's got a good melody, but the drums just kind of don't work too great. Like they're a little over the top, and just the whole mix kind of sounds muddy, but not in a good way. Not like the overblown kind of sound, just muddy. So I think you could clean up the mix there. Maybe make the drums a little more spaced out, give them some bounce, and I think you'd be cooking on that for sure. Yo, we're gonna return to this. We got OG funk. Let's go. I think you shine in your usage of weird sounds, like the weird little whistle sound is nice. The little I forget what it's called, but it's that one perk you got in there. It sounds kind of cool. Overall, it does seem a little empty, but I think you've got a pretty good thing going on here for funk. I'm not a huge funk fan personally. Damn, I'm not gonna dance. I'm not gonna dance, my dude. The Andy Griffin whistle, that's what it's called. Yeah, it goes hard. I do think the mix though is a bit muddy, especially kind of in that mid range. You could clean that up, but it is pretty solid for sure. We gotta remove this. All right, Joseph. Listen, Joseph, I think it's pretty good. I think it's definitely what you're going for. I do think, though, your kick could have a little bit more impact. There's a lot of ways you could do it. Personally, my favorite way is just side chaining it a little bit to either everything else or the melody, just so it can have a little bit more room to kind of be impactful. So I think you could have maybe done something like that here, but I think overall it's pretty good. Definitely nailed what you were trying to go for. If you win this shit, dog, there's no battle. There's no beat battle. There's no beat battle. There's nothing to win. Stop. Egg, what do you have for us? Please bless our ears. Also, someone asked if I have experience with tinnitus. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't. I'm not even certain what that is.
Well, the poor square looks around his closed house, sees no one there, and what's more, has witnessed a greeting coming from his insides, a voice from within. He surely is getting a little worried about his sanity. The three-dimensional creature is unhappy, happy.
That ringing in your ear, what causes that? What causes the ringing? Yo, Cheeto Frito Doritos. What causes the ringing in the ear? Tinnitus. That's my loud noises cause it. Damn, I try and listen to I'm turning my stuff down now. You're scaring me. I'm turning my speakers down. I like to take care of my ears. I like to hopefully, be gentle with them. I love this. I really like the little piano you threw in there, the little pause in the beat, very very brief, but it was nice. Egg, you do a great job at creating a nice vibe, and I think you did that here. Jungle Book ass beat. No, it was a good vibe. It was a good vibe. Jungle Book was a legendary movie. Don't disrespect. Yeah. Depending on the synth, most definitely it can hurt the fuck out of your ears. Explosions or something bad with your neck musculature. Damn, my neck musculature is terrible. I don't even know what that means. What is neck musculature? Anyone know? Please let me know. All right, what do we got down here? We got throwed beats. Yeah, I feel like this whole beat kind of sounds a little thin. Like I think your drums could be hitting a bit more. Doozy said it himself, but I also agree. I don't really love the snare sample for this beat. But I do think like you have some good ideas here. You just need to kind of clean up the mix and fix that snare, and you'll have a better beat for sure. No, I'm not gonna lie, but that almost made me laugh, like that last little bit where it kind of, I'll play it again. I just felt like that kind of switch there was really awkward. I feel like this beat is a little on the basic side, little plain, kind of robotic feeling with those chords, kind of how you stab them in there. I think you could kind of give that a little more human touch, you know, just humanize it a bit. I'm not crazy on the drums, but I think that's probably not the worst of the issue here. Yeah, I don't laugh. No, I'm kidding. I do. Listen, I think you have some good stuff in this beat. You know, like you have a pretty cool melody, a lot of space in there. But it's kind of suffering the same issue as this first beat here in that like the drums just kind of fall a little flat. Like the mix on them is kind of weak. They're not really hitting that crazy than they could be. They definitely could be. You just got to nail that mix and you'll have much better beats.
No shot! No shot! Resto fermo sotto questo piano che nessuno chiama per
It's great. I love the vocals. I think the drums kind of work in there nicely. What you did is really, really good. Yeah, you killed it. Honestly, this is a great beat. I mean, this one's alright. It's a little more lackluster, especially in the arrangement. I'm not crazy about the kick, but overall, it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. You thought it was a basketball net too? My God, I did as well. I was like, damn, this beat's a slam dunk. That's what I was thinking at that point. You know, but it's a trash can. My bad, my bad. Don't tell you the 808s are too loud. You want to know if the loop is good. Alright, here's my beef with it. I don't think the 808 is really a problem. Like, I understand what you're trying to do here. I think the loop is kind of cool too, but it gets so blown out, so it doesn't really matter too much how it sounds, to be honest with you. Because it kind of just makes it sound cooler when it's blown out like that. But the issue I have is your 808 is playing like a whole melody line here. You got notes going all over the place at some points, and it just doesn't work that great, you know? I think you could definitely kind of fix that, you know? That's what you got to clean up here. Fix the 808 pattern. Don't have it be so melodic. You know, it's a bass. It doesn't have to be that melodic. But other than that, you know, it's pretty solid. I like what you're doing. Inversible. It was crazy you say that. I reached out to Simon Servita one time, low-key, because he's a Canadian, a fellow Canadian like me. But he never got back to me. Never. I was actually supposed to do something with BusyWorks Beats too, but he ghosted me. Like, we were talking, he agreed to do the video, and then he just never responded again. So, yeah. I mean, it's alright. It's definitely on the little more simple side, but it's not too bad. I feel like you could have got a little more creative, but I do think like the mix and everything is pretty solid in the end. So it ends up working out. Just get a little more creative with it, though. Zap, what do you have for us? doozy, you're right. The clap is ass. It just feels really empty. Like you don't have much going on with your drums. You don't have much going on with your melody. Like there's not much happening at all. It just feels really, really empty. And I would have loved to see just a little bit something more. Like you could have just added some ambient sounds in there a bit more, or like, I don't know, just anything really. You could have thrown in a hi-hat, just something, an accent snare. Give me some more than what you have, because it's a little empty. No, we're not doing this. Oops, that's the wrong button. I meant to time you out for this. This is a violation of my human rights. How do I even do this, bro? I don't even know how to use Discord. You're getting an hour timeout. This is crazy. That's crazy. You know what? You raise a great point. He did warn me. We'll turn it way down. We'll listen to it, and we'll untime you out. There you go. The whole legal system. You had a lawyer fight on your behalf. Your appeal went through. Congratulations. I mean, when it's like, according to OBS, this is coming in at negative 35 decibels. It's not that bad. Negative 35 decibels sounds pretty passable. It is. It's extremely loud. Yeah, what is the point of having it so loud? Because I have to turn it down to negative 35 decibels to enjoy it. You see the dilemma. Control your peaks. You know, control your peaks internally. This is a cool thing about FL Studio. Internally, inside the mix, all that inside the mix of FL Studio, it uses 32-bit float, right? So you can have stuff go crazy loud inside FL. But once you render it, most likely you can't, you know, unless you're rendering it in 32-bit float. But like most like streaming services and stuff don't really use that. So like, control your peaks. No, you can't have my theme. Control your peaks. Control your peaks. Don't do that. Don't make your beat hurt people's ears, because nobody wants to listen to that. It's that little chord there. Like, there's just an absurd amount of dissonance. That's kind of why it sounds weird. You have a good melody going, right? And then in your harmony, you kind of mess it up a little bit by introducing a little too much dissonance there. It just doesn't work the greatest in that point. But I think you have something here that you could definitely clean up. You just kind of got to fix that little dissonance bit in the melody. Yeah, Scootermungus didn't like that. Scootermungus really was not a fan. But no, I think you have something here. You do. It sounds a little robotic too at times. Like, a little bit more humanization might be good. Unless you played it naturally, then that's crazy. That's crazy. You play like a robot, my dude. No, that's a cat. That's not a baby. That's a cat. Justin, welcome to the membership. Welcome to the members. Let me know your Discord. I'll add you right away. I'll get you in there. Objectively, there's nothing really bad with this beat. Like, the mix is okay, everything's fine. It is definitely a little basic. Yeah, my personal pet peeve is when people be like, yo, this is A sharp Dorian, this is, you know, like, what are the other ones? I always forget the names off the top of my head. Let's see. My flstudio is kind of out of whack, right? It's not even that, right? So you're in Dorian, Locrian, you know what I mean, Lydian. Pretty much all of these are like the same. They're all diatonic scales, right? So like, whoa, what am I even in? Yeah, this is the major, right? So like this is A sharp major. You can just like switch what is the root note and it's still going to be like the same set of notes, just a different scale. So my pet peeve is when people say, oh, this beat's in A sharp Dorian, for example. It's not helpful to anyone. Like, no one can, you can't really set your auto tune. Like, look, I'm gonna open up like what everyone uses basically, which is Antares. Pretty much everybody uses this. What? It has not. I can't even open it, bro. I pay my subscription. I hate Antares. I do. They've done this to me so many times. Terrible. I pay my subscription every single time, and for some reason it just never registers. Basically what I was gonna say is you don't have A sharp Dorian as an option in there, right? And you got to make it easier for the people actually using your beat. So don't put it as A sharp Dorian, put it as the minor equivalent or the major equivalent, because it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing note wise. It's just different root note. It just changes music theory stuff. Yeah, I like the sample. I like the little melody you kind of threw in there along with it. It works really well, but I'm not loving the drum sound selection a little bit. I think you could clean that up. You could pick better sounds and it would work a little bit better, but I do think what you have there is pretty good. We got a member beat. All right, let's give it a listen. I like this. No shot. I think this is really good. Took you 30 minutes to make. The bounce is nice. The melody, like, you got a lot of different instruments kind of playing different parts, and they work together. They're all pretty basic, but they work really well together, and it works. You know, it feels fresh, feels varied, but it's not that varied, so it's nice. You did a good job on that. Who mentioned me? No. Wait, that's not even how it works. No. There's so many reasons why. All right, where were we at? Joe's Knolting. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really messing with this. I think that just kind of comes down to personal stuff, personal preference. But I can explain my opinion. I'm not loving the kick. Initially, kind of when that little bass, I guess it is, came in, it sounded a little awkward with the vocal. I'm glad you stopped doing the vocal because it just didn't work too great together. But I think it could be better. I think you have something here, but I think it could be better. The lazy guy, what do you got for us?
The lazy guy?
Lazy?
Your tag is obnoxious, but your piano is beautiful. I don't think the drums are it. Like, I think you had a great idea with the piano. It's a really nice, beautiful piano. But then the drums kind of come in. They don't really vibe the same way, you know? So I think maybe different drums there, or maybe honestly you could have used the piano to segue into something else. Different melody, different harmony. Drums work a little bit better. Let's go. You're a real one. Congrats. Young K, what do you have? BMB3.mp3. Stop. Why is your CTM so atrociously quiet? What are you doing? What is the point of the CTM here? What is the point? Yeah, I just don't see the point of the CTM. It doesn't really add anything to the beat. I felt like in the intro it kind of detracts a bit more than anything else. Once it drops though, like it's fine. The drums work okay. Everything's good there. The mix is fine. Nothing like problematic. The melody is a little basic, but that's about it. CTM, yeah, it's an 808. It's one of the very known, notorious 808s. It like spins. I think it's fine. There's really nothing terrible with this. I do think that like maybe it's a little too spacious. Like there's not much happening. So you could have done a little bit more in terms of maybe your harmony or melody, but I think it's pretty solid. The drums are pretty decent. I think the melody's where this definitely shines. Once the drums come in, kind of they something feels wrong with the 808. The rest of them just kind of are there. So I think you could definitely kind of clean that up. You did have some nice stuff going on with the perks, so I'll give you that. And you got a two Hollis Nate Sib type beat. Let's go. This sounds like you put a limiter on the master, and I really am not a fan of that. Like, it kind of just makes what should be hitting, what should be big, and what should be impactful just small, thin, and empty. Yeah, that's really the only issue with this beat. Like, everything you got is pretty good. I like the drum fill you threw in there. I like the perks in the intro. I like the idea behind the drums. They're just not hitting right, you know, and it's just, it comes down to that limiter.
Man's eye, you killed this.
Yo, what the hell is going on with my Discord? What? Okay, that's kind of weird. Damn. All right. Honestly, though, that beat was kind of vibey. I liked where it was going. I hated your tag. Like, I hate when your tag just be glazing yourself for no reason. But I do think you did a good job with the beat, so it's fair. It's fine. I do think your drums could hit a little bit more, but I do think you have some good stuff here, and I'm kind of liking it. All right, well, ooh, if it's a remix, we probably can't play it. those get copyright strike right away. We'll listen to something though. There's like some weird dissonance going on with your bass and your melody that just doesn't really work too great. There's no drop in this beat. There's no drop. I'm really not loving the drums. Like I just, they're not doing much, you know? They just kind of feel a little too sporadic, a little not too thought out, I guess, but I think there is some cool stuff in your sound selection. Even that, bro, even that is a little tricky. Like the way these algorithms work, they can detect that kind of stuff still. Yeah, I kind of like what you're doing. I like the flute especially. The drums just leave a little bit to be desired because they're just really basic, but I think it's got some potential for sure. Yeah, just because it's sped up, it can still get copyrighted. Honestly, bro, I've gotten copyrights on videos for drum patterns. Like, it's the craziest shit. YouTube needs to. It's not like I was making the drum pattern from scratch. It was a video of me making a beat, so I had a pretty easy defense in that case. But like, you know, YouTube needs to get their shit together with that a little bit. They're a little too stringent or strict or whatever the word is. Yeah, the 808 definitely needs to be louder on that. It's not really hitting. You just kind of want to saturate it. Just clip it, let it have some punch to it. And the melody was a little basic. Like, it was just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. Throw in some variation. Don't be afraid to experiment with different stuff. Mix it up. Do like, honestly, the easy sauce to it is like, if you have, I'll open up FL. If you have like a pattern that's like, let's just get rid of the velocity. Oh, my FL Studio looks so weird. I don't know why. But let's say like this is your melody. You have the most dookie ass melody in the world, but this is what it is, right? You don't want to repeat this over and over and over again. You know, you can like mix up just one or two note, like, I don't know, bam, now it'll sound a little different. That's kind of what you want to do. Just give some variation. You can leave the rhythm the same, just change the melody a bit. Yo, no shot, I'm cutting you off after this one. I'm so sorry, but technically, Members can submit up to 3 beats. So you're on 6. This is the last one though.
No shot!
The mix on this one's a little messy. When I was saying the mix was a little messy, it was because there's like a lot of resonance in the beginning that just didn't really sound too great. But I think like kind of once it got going, it was nice. I like the bass you had in there for sure. Also, someone was asking, can you use 2 808s at the same time and just overlap them? I mean, technically, kind of, maybe. But what you would be doing is, because you wouldn't want the low end to clash, right? So you'd have to cut out the low end. But when you do this with an 808, it can create phasing issues really easily. So you kind of got to be mindful of that, you know? Because you don't want those phasing issues. It will probably sound like ass too. So you probably don't want to actually do that. It may not work out that great. But you can try it. You can make it work. It's just not the easiest thing to do. You have something. I'm gonna be real. You have something. This goes into something else, though. This definitely drops into something else. There's potential here. You could really like kind of flesh this out into a really cool intro or something, and I think that would be awesome. You know, might need to turn down the volume. I appreciate the heads up. We'll do that now. Stop. I've heard that sound too many times. I do agree though. The roboticness to the guitar sounds a little robotic. You know what I mean? Yeah, it just humanize it. Give it a little human touch. You know, move some notes around. You don't have to do that much if you don't have FL Studio 25. But if you do, you can go in tools. You can just press humanize. This does a lot of magic for that. A lot of randomness. But if not, honestly, what you can really do is just put a note down. Press Alt on your keyboard. Move it around freely. Just don't put it on blocks or whatever. Change the velocity. Just be particular with what you're doing. Be particular. I mean, it's alright. There's really nothing too crazy to write home about with this beat. The drums are kind of cool, I guess, at times. At some points, the rhythm is a little weird for them. I'm not loving them. But, you know, that's just what it is. At some points, too, like, the melody's kind of alright. But other times, it's just kind of like a calm, like, spa music vibe almost, you know? It's nothing crazy, but it's not bad. By any means, it's not bad. It's giving me rage vibes. I'm not gonna lie, 100% rage vibes. I'm kind of liking it. But it's a little dated. You know what I mean? I am a fan of good rage beats. I ain't gonna lie, this kind of sounds like an NF type beat, and like that just kind of means it sounds a little corny. Like it's got like that little spooky vibe, you know what I mean? The little cinematic touch. It's a little cheesy, I feel personally. I feel like you could have got a little more creative, you know, get outside of the comfort zone, do something unique, mix it up, get experimental.
CNN.
Yeah, I will always diss on NF. When is, there we go, okay. I was gonna ask when is something gonna happen in your beat, but it finally did. It took 50 seconds though, which is kind of crazy. I mean, this kind of struggles with having stuff happening, you know? It just feels very empty, a little too empty. Like, I think you could have had a little bit more go on. Doesn't have to go on for the whole time, but like you can just bring some stuff in. 20 seconds max for a drop. Yeah, low key, I was listening to a song with my girlfriend the other day, and it was like a 1 minute intro, and that alone, just, it made me not fuck with it. It made her not fuck with it. You know what I mean? So when you have a song, you have a beat with this long ass intro, you gotta keep it interesting. And if you don't, nobody's gonna like the rest of the beat because they're not gonna listen to it. And even when the rest of the beat came in for this beat, you just didn't have much happening. I know these beats are pretty stripped back, but I feel like you could have had a bit more go on. Your drum mix is just really flat. The kick has no impact, very little punch, almost no thump. Your melody feels robotic as well, but not because of the melody really just being like not humanized or anything. It feels robotic because you're kind of just mostly playing on strong beats, like, or even just like really just kind of like this, like, you know what I mean? You're not giving me any really syncopation. You're not giving me anything interesting. You know, mix it up, get a little creative with your rhythm. Rhythm is time, right? And time is infinite in terms of your beat. Melodically, if you're playing in one scale, you're not doing anything crazy, you have 7 notes to work with across multiple octaves, but still 7 notes. So get creative with your rhythm, please. We only do 1 beat if you are a peasant. I'm sorry. I'm gonna listen to the last one because you're saying that's the best one.
Wake the fuck up!
Your low end is really messy, like just absolute mess. Yeah, overall, the melody is just a mess in terms of a mix. Like it's not hard, I promise you, it's really not complicated, but when you have your melodic components, you really need to think about where all the frequencies are, what's going on, what's taking up what frequency space. So like, for example, also, just to keep in mind, this is probably where muddiness is usually going to happen, in this mid-range frequency, like here, you know what I mean? So if you have a lot of sounds that are all kind of going on here, it's going to get muddy. But what you need to do too is you need to keep in mind, like, okay, so this is going to be more of my treble, more of my high end, so you're going to boost that maybe, then in whatever other channel, you know, you'll turn it down, right? So let's say I got another instrument here, I turn it down because I'm making room for that. You need to think about it like physical space, where you make room for different things because you don't have room for any of your stuff. That's kind of the way to do it, you know? Yeah, I like the melody, I like the little lead you have there, but what I got beef with is the fact that the 808's just not hitting. It doesn't feel like it's hitting right. I think you could turn it up, clip it a tiny bit, you know what I mean? No, I do not have a video on panning, but if you want a little quick talk about it, that's easy to do. Similar thing as the EQ, it's just coming down to space, but in terms of space, it's not like the frequency space, It's the audible stereo field, or whatever it's called, right? So if I have a sound that's to the left, it's not going to clash with what's in the right. You know what I mean? Pretty much just kind of how it boils down. Same kind of idea with like stereo separation too. But this is a little trickier because on some devices it's going to be mono no matter what, so you don't really get to hear the stereo separation. But like if I separate something really wide, I spread it out pretty wide, and then in another channel I just make it mono. You know, that's like pretty common. That's something else you could do for some space. It just comes down to space though. What Springs does on his 808. Have I ever done a collab with someone famous? I mean, technically, it was like an interview video. I would never do it again. Working with other people is a challenge, coordinating schedules and stuff, and the reward oftentimes just isn't really there. But I mean, technically, like it depends if you consider like DJ Payne famous. I forget what the name of the dude is who was like the Billboard mix engineer. So I guess, but like these people are like Billboard charting or like platinum plaques, like, you know, but famous is in like famous. I don't know. I guess Wi-Fi's Funeral, I worked with him, but not like a video as a song. Why'd you do this? Why did you do this with your 808? I understand, like, you get into trap production, drill production. This is a drill beat. The slide here is just goofy. I thought this was gonna be like a trap beat, low key at first. I didn't even read the title. That's my bad. When you do slides in drill, you need to be intentional. You need to be very well thought out, and you need to make sure it sounds good. And here, where you're sliding, it kind of just sounds all over the place, kind of goofy. Like these slides just feel like sliding for the sake of sliding, because they're not really working with the rest of the drums, they're not really working with the melody. It just feels like it's a slide because you want to slide. I think as well, in terms of mix, you could really get a lot more out of your sounds just by turning them up. Like your 808's pretty quiet, your hi-hat's a little quiet, your clap or snare or whatever it is a little bit quiet as well. How do you make Flex 808 sound better? Stop using Flex 808s. That's how. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of like a hot pile steaming of ass. It's just shit. It's like a mess. The mix is a mess. I really liked what you're doing at first. Like, I thought you had potential. I really did. But then it just kind of became a muddy like mess of just everything at the same time. When you have like big sounds that are just taking up all the space, you want to give them that space to shine, right? And you're not doing that here. You're kind of just throwing everything on top of each other, and it gets really messy really quick.
I wanna go.
All right, we're gonna go with this one instead. You got really quiet snaps in there. You should probably turn them up a bit. That was kind of smooth. I like it. It's pretty good. Your snaps are a little too quiet. I think the mix overall could be a tiny bit better. Like, you could make some things shine a bit more, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't think that's a kick. I do think though your drums aren't hitting. That's the problem. Your hi-hat's a little overtaking everything else, and the kick, or not the kick, the 808, it's just not punching. So you gotta turn that up. Make your drum mix a little better. Make them hit harder, and it'd be way better. I think you're doing too much with the 808. The 808 pattern is okay, but you got to leave a little bit more room in there, right? Because leaving room is what really helps create that bounce, and you just don't have that. You know, like, you have a lot going on. It'd be cool if you had that in some sections, but not all over the place.
You really are. You're a genius.
I mean, it's good. It gets a little repetitive, but it's still a pretty good beat. The mix is fine too, so nothing too problematic there. I mean, I think it's pretty solid. The melody is a little basic, but I think overall it's pretty good. You probably could have turned up the hi-hat too. The hi-hat's a little quiet in there. You want my opinion on the trap section? Let's go. Yeah, I think the trap section really shines. The melody works really well with it. I do think your melody is a little quiet. Like, you could have turned up the melody a little bit, just to make it a little bit more present in your mix. But I think other than that, it's pretty good. We gotta come back to this one. We'll be right back. I'm not really loving the drum patterns. It feels like you kind of dropped off a lot of energy, even though nothing really changed. Like, it feels like energy was building up and then it just didn't really kind of meet the expectations you set. That's kind of where I feel like this falls flat. Like, there's nothing wrong with the mix. It's just the arrangement, kind of the drum pattern as well. Ralph. your melody is just way too repetitive, and the drums kind of are a little flat, just a tiny bit. I understand you want like a hard beat. It just feels a little too flat for it to be as hard as you're hyping it up to be here. Additionally, like the melody just being really repetitive kind of gets old really quick.
Good shit, Jordan. Good shit.
There's nothing wrong with the beat necessarily. It's just I don't love the melody. I don't love the harmony. It just feels like, for example, the harmony, it just kind of feels like it's a little too all over the place. You know what I mean? The drums are fine. I like the percussion you use there. I think that's kind of nice and interesting, but the harmony, the melody just doesn't feel right. This section's really cool. I like this. I feel like you got a little bit of an issue with arrangement though, because it seems like this one has a similar issue where like you got this intro, it feels like the intro is going one way and then it goes a completely different way. I think the 808 here as well, like I'm not loving the sample you used because it just feels a little too much like it's hitting a wall. But I do think like you have more energy in the drums on this one than on this one that I kind of liked. This is way too repetitive. The drum pattern's repetitive, the melody's repetitive. Mix it up a little bit. Get a little more creative. Yeah, extremely repetitive. This is way too much repetition. Repetition is good. It can make things catchy, but when you over repeat it like this, it gets really boring really quick. Your drum pattern, like the 808, especially for me, it just felt like it was hitting at the same spots every single time. So I would have liked a little more variation there. I'm not gonna lie, this kind of sounds like it's like you know those ads back in the day for those like online colleges or like Sims, like Sims 3 kind of sounds like that kind of music. it's honestly, there's some parts too that are a little robotic, but overall it's just like really like generic kind of happy vibes. This kind of comes down to the notes you're playing, maybe the scale as well. If you want, just go into a minor scale instead of a major scale and play around with it. You know, the relationship between the notes are the same, but scale degree wise, you know, it's a little different. A little bit. CNL, you ask a great question. Is it good to stick to one genre or more as a beat maker? Realistically, like ideal scenario, you make what you want. You know what I mean? If you're chasing placements, make what you need to make, but like if you're just making beats, make what you want. Whatever genre interests you, learn it, get into it, incorporate it across different genres, make some unique shit like that. You know what I mean? We listened to this already, no shot. We did. Cats Pop, what do you got for us?
This is a certified classic. That we have to cross that swamp.
How'd you understand that?
You don't just read the poetry to understand it. You gotta feel it. Trust me, dude, I'm smarter than everyone. Now get in there.
You know it's late, right?
It's got a good arrangement to it, I think. At times, though, it really kind of gets hard to get into it because it's just always moving around to different stuff. So I think it'd be good, you know, just to give me what it needs to be for a little bit at least, you know? I'm not gonna lie, I think it's clean. I do think the mix is pretty solid. I like the melody. Overall, though, it is a little on the simple side, but that's never a bad thing. is good tempo. You do these beats, you do them always well. I would like to see that bass being a little bit louder in there, just a tiny bit, but I think it's pretty damn good what you did. We got a members beat to give a listen to. I'm gonna pin this. I'm gonna come back to it. Let's give it a listen though. Espola 7. I think you're called Subrat though on YouTube. What a name.
I wanna be your friend. Oh, I cannot pretend. Baby, is this the end? Oh, I don't wanna be your friend now. I wanna be your friend now again. Oh, I cannot pretend to be no man. Baby, is this the end? Now again. Oh, I don't wanna be your friend now. Now again.
Yo, I think you cooked on this. I think your vocals came in real nice, honestly. They are a little like, you're not going too crazy in them, but that's fine for what you're doing. I think you did good with this. The arrangement is good. This is the best one you've sent so far in my mind in terms of arrangement. This is probably where you feel most comfortable, I imagine. You know, like this genre of music. It's cool though. What you did, it slaps. I liked it. Good work. Pat yourself on the back.
We can't expect God to do all the work.
I don't like your melody. It's really just amateur sounding, the melody. The drums are okay. You know, they are a little mix wise messy, but the melody's just kind of plain. That's the issue. Someone asked a question and asked a pretty good question. I know a lot of people kind of struggle with this. The question really just boils down to how do you pick your sounds according to the mood, to the music, whatever. So I know this guy, Backgang Beats, right? Backgang Beats, I've worked with him. I made a few beats with him. Very cool dude, very chill dude, very wonderful guy. Now, he kind of, we were cooking up on Discord one time, and basically we were like going to pick like sounds, and I was like, hey, how do you pick your sounds? Because you always have great sound selection. I'm a little jealous of that. And he basically was just like, yeah, play the beat, cycle through your sounds, you know? So like the beat could be playing, and then I don't know, let me just pull up like a random drum kit I got. Beats playing, you know, you got your beat playing, and then you're just like, you hear it. You hear what works, what sounds good, what's right. Personally though, what I like to do, so let's say I'm using Serum. Let's say I'm looking for a synth, right? So let's just go into like whatever bank. You know, let's say I'm looking for a synth. I've got like my little MIDI controller here. Right? I'm finding sounds. I'm like, oh, this is not really the synth I'm looking for, but you know, it kind of sounds cool. So I'll copy it, clone it. Maybe I come back to the sound later. Maybe I do something with that, but then I continue like looking for what I'm actually trying to find. You know what I mean? So when you are looking for sounds, when you're cycling through your sounds, you want to stop and keep anything you find that's cool, because you might want to use it anyways. Worst case scenario, you just don't use it, you know? You're not wasting any time. That's what I like to do. Yo, sup, react to my new song. Maybe we'll do that. You got like this terrible little popping. Very tiny, but I hate it. I think the mix is really bad. That's kind of the biggest issue. You've got this like little piano or whatever that's sampled and chopped up. The popping in it is just because, like, sure, we'll use this as an example. The popping is just because you have, right, the beginning of your sample, you've cut it somewhere. We'll say like here, right? You move this around, whatever. But this beginning bit, that's where it's gonna pop. So you can just kind of fade that in a little bit, and it won't pop anymore. Right, it'll fix that little nastiness there. It does have a weird video game vibe to it, but I think it's not bad. Like I kind of like what you're doing with the melody, with the piano, with that. It's the drums that really make it messy and muddy. It's cool. It gives me spooky black vibes. If you don't know who that is, he changed his name to Corbin. Spooky Black was more so when he was earlier in his career, I guess. But it gives me those vibes, not the Corbin vibes as much. I think it's cool. I definitely do think it's cool. It does feel like it's kind of missing something. Like it's not a full thing. You know what I mean? This isn't something I would say, and here's the full thing too. This is just, it's a thing. Yeah, I wonder where I've heard this chord progression. I think you could use some EQ to really make your sounds gel together a bit better, because it's not really gelling all that well. Other than that, though, you do have a nice chord progression. It is a well-known one, so that's okay, I guess. But it does sound like you're trying to replicate something as opposed to making your own beat. Yeah, no, I agree. It definitely kind of sounds a bit on the generic side. It's like what I was talking about before, like having your pattern just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. It'd be nice to mix that up, get a little more creative with that. I do think as well, in terms of the drums, the kick is okay. I'm not crazy about the sample, but I think you can still make it work. My beef is really with the 808. Like, it just doesn't come through very nicely, really at all, you know, and that's where my beef is. So I think you could clean up that mix and it would sound a little better. All right, we'll give you one more just because you're new, but this is the last one for you, Subrat. I don't really love the 808 sample for this beat. I think the flute also gets a little played out. I know you're using it across different octaves for some variation, but it's been the same thing over and over again. Cut it out, stop it for like 8 bars, do something else. You know what I mean? That would really make it feel a little more fresh, a little more unique. Open up the space too. That's what it would really do. Also, yeah, like I said, the 808 sample kind of feels like it's just hitting a brick wall. We gotta jump back to RKMB. Get out of here. It's only one submission, so we'll listen to it. Your piano sounds like really generic, like the sound to it, you know, the pattern to it is very robotic, but the sound to it just sounds like it's like a very default kind of piano preset. It's lacking a little bit of reverb, so it's a little too dry. I think like the high end on it might be a little harsh, but it's not like dramatic. You could just turn it down a tiny bit, the whole piano. Make a little bit more room for your drums, because your drums kind of get drowned out at times. We've already listened to your beats, my dude. Whatever that sound is, it's terrible. I hate it. This just feels all over the place and not in a good way. Like, it's just, you're kind of spamming the same sound over and over again. I don't even like that sound. And on top of that too, you're just kind of repeating the same pattern, and it just doesn't work, man. It just does not work that great. A Tame Impala beat would be kind of cool, but we already listened to your beat, so we can't. We gotta adhere to the rules. There's a system. Also, Lil Mo 2004, appreciate the donation. Shout out to you, my guy. Big shout out. Rapid, we will listen to yours for sure. Most definitely. You are a member. Unrem. Advice on mixing distorted guitars for shoegaze. Honestly, I don't have the most experience with guitars, but in terms of that kind of stuff, really it just comes down a lot to EQ. Like, you really got to be mindful of your mids, especially your lows too. Like on a distorted guitar, it will probably sound a little dirty down there, so you can kind of clean that up with EQ. Your mids, depending on your guitar, you might want more, but you might want less. You know, and your high end, that's probably where you're gonna get the most painful sound, but at the same time too, you might want a little bit more of that. It definitely depends a lot on your guitar, how it sounds, but use your judgment and EQ accordingly. You know, if it sounds good, it is good. Kurt, what do you have for us? Also, Rapid, what is your name in Discord? Because I'll get to you, don't worry. That was pretty cool. I won't lie to you, that was pretty cool stuff. I liked it. It was just very short. I wish you had a little bit more going on in terms of length. Like, flesh this idea out, come back, let me listen to it again. It's kind of cool. You could maybe clean up the mix a little bit because some of the sounds were fighting a bit for space, but not too bad. Unrem, probably what you could try doing is EQ before the distortion, so you're controlling kind of how the distortion sounds a bit, and then EQing after the distortion as well, so you're still controlling how it sounds. I think this is pretty good, especially for 4 months. Self-learned for 4 months. Honestly, most producers are self-learned. I'm going to give you that little piece of advice. But I think you did pretty damn good for only 4 months. I do think you're getting a little carried away at times with your kick. Like, you have the kick 808 kind of going back and forth, and it's a little much at times. Other than that, though, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think you could do a lot more if you keep at it. So keep it up. This is not a remix. This beat is completely yours. Want a break from the ads? I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just really plain, kind of like NPC sounding. That's kind of how it sounds. You know what I mean? No, I had to do that. I get enough of those comments myself. You didn't do anything objectively bad. It's just, it sounds like NPC music. I'm sorry to tell you that. How do you stop making NPC music? That's a good question. It's a deep answer. It is a deep answer. Maybe I'll do a video on that. How to stop making NPC music. You were cooking. You were cooking, then you brought in the CTM, and it was the weakest shit I've ever heard. The CTM was like not even there. And this is a great segue into a question we got of how to make your 808 stand out in the mix. Beautiful question. When you have an 808, right, let's throw an 808 in here. All of these 808s are pretty big. Like this one, this is pretty punchy. Usually it comes down to sound selection. You want to pick a good sounding 808 off the bat. You know, like this has a little pop at the beginning, so I wouldn't use this usually. But let's just say, you know, I take a spins. Where's the spins at? Yeah, we take a generic spins, right? Already it's pretty punchy. It's exceeding 0 decibels. So for me, I've got a soft clipper on my master. This is going to saturate the 808, but if I don't want it to saturate with everything else, I'll put a soft clipper on the 808. You know, where is Fruity soft clipper? Here it is. So I'll put a soft clipper on the 808. Now this isn't going to exceed 0 decibels, but it's going to still saturate. And if I want a bit more out of this, I might turn this up here or just really anywhere. Even the velocity, you could turn that up. But realistically, like if you want your 808 to stick out in the mix, you have to give it volume and you have to give it some saturation, because that's what's going to help it have that punchy sound. Yeah, thank you for subscribing, Daxter Edits. We'll keep listening to this, Elias. I think it's pretty good. I think the issue with your CTM though is it might just be a little bit too low. You could probably move it up an octave. A lot of the times with the CTMs, some of them will sound pretty wonky, pretty bad in like the lower notes. Like that doesn't sound good. But if I bring it up here, it sounds better. You know what I mean? So you got to probably bring it up an octave. Yo, Sujanya, thank you for becoming a member. Let me know your Discord so I can add you to the members section. I don't know why the YouTube integration thing is not working too well right now, so I'm gonna fix that when I can, but we got the manual set up right now in the meantime. I think sidechaining your kick would have been really helpful for this, because you have a lot of stuff that's taking up a lot of space and the kick just really gets drowned out by that. So you would want to probably sidechain your kick to the bass, or at least to like everything else, so that it has that room to be the kick that it needs to be. It gives it a lot of impact. Feedback will be appreciated. Alrighty. "20 seconds in, my guy, you're doing a little too much with the 808. Like, you're just kind of spamming it there for a little brief second, and it just doesn't sound that good." And one of the notes kind of sounds off. I do like what you're doing with the hi-hat pattern though. I think that's pretty cool. Also with the 808, whoa. Also with the 808, I don't know if it's the sample or what you're doing to it, but it doesn't sound too good. It sounds like it's a little flat, like it's just slamming into something, you know? So maybe for this beat, it's not the best sample choice, or maybe whatever mixing you did to it just wasn't the best. Like it might have been a little too much clipping, a little too much something. But you could definitely fix that. Yeah, same. I think this one's great. Absolutely great. I really like the mix. The mix is big. Everything in there is pretty loud. It comes through. It has its space to shine. This is a really good job. You did awesome. You did awesome on that beat. Sounds unique as well. It's nice. You spent like 9 hours on this. Jeez. All right. You're a beginner though. That's all good. I'll let you know what I think. Whoa. This was used for what is this game called? FNF. I forget the name of the actual game. I just know it's FNF. But you made it for a mod for that game. Cool. Let's give it a listen. No, I fully agree. This is definitely not bad for a beginner. You kind of just made some like minor beginner mistakes, like mix wise. Really, that's kind of where the issues kind of fall. I'm not too familiar with FNF music overall, so I'm not gonna really judge on that. But you have like a lot of stuff going on in your melody at some point in your build, and they're fighting a lot in their lower range, kind of a little bit in the mids, so it kind of sounds a little muddy in your low end. You can honestly just like do something like this, like clear up some space. Well, basically what I've been talking about with EQ this whole time. But overall, like pretty good for a beginner, honestly. Just work on some mixing, EQ a little bit here and there, and clean up your sounds. Your mix here sounds kind of like you have a lot of frequencies missing. Yeah, I don't know where that drop was. He said the drop starts at 129. I did not hear any drop. On top of that too, aside from the frequencies just sounding like they're missing, it's a little repetitive. You're kind of repeating the same stuff over and over again. I do think the cuts really add some nice variation, but I think you should do a little bit more for some variation in there. We got to pin this, because we're gonna come right back, because we got this beat here from NYX. You have only been producing for like 5-6 months. It's one of your best beats. All right, let's give it a listen. So you definitely have some stuff here that is good. Like, I like the melody kind of. I like the arrangement idea that you had going in there. The transition was kind of really cool. What really kind of falls flat here are two things. You're mixing, everything kind of sounds a little quiet. Nothing's really kind of cutting through nicely. Nothing's really punchy. Nothing's hitting. And then on top of that too, the drum patterns. Like, I don't know what you were doing or what you were thinking with the kick / 808. I don't know why you did like a 4 on the floor type of pattern, but it doesn't work here in this context. You don't need to really learn like music theory for rhythm, but a good thing to keep in mind is when you have a note and you have like another note right after, you know, it doesn't leave much room for that bounce, doesn't leave that bouncy space. So feel free to, like, you know, use fewer 808 notes. You don't need to spam them all over the place. You can put some like on off beats to kind of like lead into other beats, you know, like do some cool stuff with it, but you don't need to spam 808 notes all over the place. Yeah. I'll listen to yours probably. It's 718. That's crazy. VG, what do you got for us? I think this is great. You did a great job. Your mix is good. The 808 is hitting hard. It's nice. It's a damn good beat, my guy. You cooked on it for sure. Yeah, Studio One seems a bit easier on learning. Honestly, I've never even looked at Studio One, so I have no idea if it is or not. But when I say like get to know the DAW, you need to learn like the interworkings of it. You know how earlier I was talking about like FL Studio internal mixer uses 32-bit float. That's the type of shit you need to know, because that has an impact on how the sounds work inside the DAW. You need to know that kind of stuff. You could learn that by reading the manual, but like that would be boring as hell. So I don't know, just like Google stuff every now and then, look stuff up. I don't know. That's kind of like the interworking stuff, you know? Is it good? Dude, you cooked. It's fire. It's great. It's really damn good. This is an interesting message to send. You love Hello Kitty. Power to you. Power to you. All right, let's give this one. in your piano there, you've got some notes that are a little too dissonant. So dissonance is part of music. It's a good thing and a bad thing, right? If I play like these two notes, if I play a bunch of notes side by side like this, it'll probably sound pretty dissonant. You know, and that doesn't sound too great. But like this is something I could maybe use, like I don't know, maybe I want to create some dissonance like this. This is really basic, but like I could do something like this to just create some dissonance in the chord to build some kind of tension. Yo, fuck, CTM. You know, so you can do something like that. You don't need as much dissonance, and whenever you have dissonance, you want to resolve it. Here, it's a little too much dissonance, so it doesn't sound too great. So I think you kind of suffer from the same thing that I said on this beat. The drum patterns, you're kind of doing the same thing. They're not really working too great in your favor. And a good thing that really helps with learning like drum patterns is just learning some basic drum patterns. So like for example, let's just say with your hi-hat, two-step, one of the most known, most common patterns. If you know this pattern, you probably have listened to music before. But you can use this, you can really build on this. So like let's just say like I have my two-step here. I don't know, I want to throw in a roll, so I can just like slap in like a little roll here or there, and it's still a two-step at its core, but now I've made it a little more unique, right? So that's kind of one way you can think about it. Or in terms of like kick 808, like this is a pretty common pattern, something like this, and if you want to add variation to that, I don't know, you could like remove a note here or there. So let's just get this one out of there. I don't know, maybe we want to slide in like a little note leading into this. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what you want to do. So learn these pretty common, pretty basic drum patterns and then build on them, make them your own. That's what you really want to do. Yeah, and the mix too is a little messy, but like I said, it's the same kind of thing there. Oops, that's the wrong channel. Alright, let's listen to the Hello Kitty type beat.
Are you ready?
Objectively, it's pretty solid. Subjectively, I'm not the biggest fan. I just don't love the vibe to the melody too much, but that's like my own personal vendetta, I guess. Definitely has the catchiness going on. I think you did pretty good. The drums at sometimes are a little too much, I feel, but I think you did pretty solid on this. We'll come back to this one. We got a members beat to give a listen to. Oh wait. Hey, if you want to send another beat, my guy, you definitely can. As a member, you can send in up to 3. So yeah. So feel free to drop another one in there.
I don't, I used to know.
it's really messy here. Honestly, other than that one section that was extremely just convoluted and messy, I think it's pretty solid. The hi-hats, I'm not loving them, but I think that's more so with the sample. But I think you did pretty decent, you know. You just got to clean up that little transition you have there between the two sections that sounds like an absolute mess. I know there was, yeah, this is the one I said I was going to listen to. I don't know if you're still here, but I'm going to give your beat a listen. Hey, I think you have some good stuff here. I think you have a lot of good ideas, especially with the drums. It's just that lead that you have there, the really high-pitched one, it doesn't work the way I think you want it to work, and the melody for it is just, I don't like, personally. Other than that, like, you have a lot of good stuff going on here. You definitely create a vibe. If I have to be really critical, I think like some of your low mids are a tiny bit muddy, but it's really not that big of an issue. You know what I mean? I gotta listen to Rapid's beat because I know he sent it and I told him I would listen to it. Yo, he's got the Drip Bayless profile picture. That's a W right there. It's pretty clean. It's pretty damn clean, Rapid. This one's pretty good too. I think the resonance at some points gets a little messy, but that's not too big of an issue. And I also think some of the lower 808 notes are a little gross, but not really that bad. Like, it's not an issue overall. It's pretty good. I think this one's good too. Like, you got a good mix on it, but this one feels like it's missing something. You know, it might be missing just vocals, to be honest with you, but it feels like a little bit too empty for me. We gotta jump back up a little bit because there's a beat we need to listen to from Way Too Much Cash. Here it is. You're spamming sound effects a little too much. I also think your mix is extremely messy. Like, a lot of things are just too loud and you could probably turn them down. Same thing, like I've said, like space in terms of the stereo field and like the EQ space, the frequency space, I mean. Same thing kind of with volume. You have a limited amount of volume and you're going over your limit a little too much. We got one more beat to listen to. Other than that, we're done for the day. That's how it is. So if you don't get your beat listened to, I'm terribly sorry, but you'll have to wait till next month. We got BRB Basher for the last beat of the day. This has a very video gamey kind of sound to it. I think that's what you were going for. Yeah, it's a remix of a video game track. Yeah, it does have the video game vibe. I think the drums are cool, but I think you could have made them a little crunchier. You know, you could have done that with like RC20 or like even something like OTT, which is free. You could have just made them a little bit crunchier, and then they would have kind of popped a bit more in the mix. Yo, Unrem, you've been chill. So like I said, we'll listen to your beat too. This will be the actual last beat. You've just been chill the entire stream. Just vibing. You know what I mean? I'm trying to fucking read this shit. What is your Discord name? Nas Car Aloe. Oh no, that's the type of beat, my guy. Don't have to scroll. Just tell me what your Discord name is. It'd make everyone's life easier. I found it. Is this the one? I'm gonna guess it is. Alright, let's give it a listen. It's chill, but I'm not really loving the lead sound, and more so is just kind of like sound selection. I think you could have picked a better sound, maybe even dropped it down an octave, because it is a little bit on the high side, like for the vibe you've got. I think too, some of your drum sounds are a little spammed, like the open hat, a little too much. At least for the volume. If you want to spam an open hat, you got to turn it down a lot. I do think too some of your drum patterns get a little too repetitive. Like you could mix them up, throw in like a little something here and there. But overall, it's pretty good. It's a nice chill vibe. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Anyways, that is going to wrap up the stream. That is it. There's no more beats being reviewed. That is it. That is all. I appreciate all of you coming here. I appreciate everyone showing up and participating, I guess, and having the balls to really just submit your stuff for review, even if it didn't get listened to. And if it didn't get listened to, we do this every single month, so make sure you stick around for the next month beat review. You can actually show up on time, because like I said millions of times, there's a bunch of rules that you need to follow to actually guarantee your beat is going to get listened to. And if you don't know what the rules are quite yet, they're all right here. You can just read this yourself one time. The rules are going to be the same as this. You got a 15-minute window. You're going to get a heads up in advance. Show up on time. Get your beat reviewed, guaranteed. That's what's up. Anyways, appreciate all of you showing up. Have a great rest of your weekend, and peace.